Deep in the Ukrainian forest stands a steel leviathan, rising nearly 500 feet into the air and stretching for half a mile. This is the Duga-1 radar array, a colossal grid of metal piercing the tree canopy. Decades ago, this facility pulsed with up to 10 megawatts of power, scanning the horizon for incoming ballistic missiles. Today, those transmitters are silent, and the array surrenders steadily to rust. When humans hastily evacuated the surrounding area in 1986, the landscape didn't simply pause. Without maintenance or military intervention, the local ecosystem began to rewrite the rules of the landscape. Look closely at these hollow birdcage dipoles. A feral, aggressive wilderness now claims the old industrial landscape, treating the steel grid as its own territory. This towering monument to Cold War ambition is being slowly devoured by a haunting, distorted nature. Beneath the shadow of the antennas, the erasure continues inside the secret city's massive data centers. These dark, waterlogged halls were once the computing brain of the entire operation. This room required climate-controlled perfection to function. Specialized cooling systems once kept the air crisp and dry to protect the fragile hardware. But without power, 3 decades of humidity seeped in. The standing water went to work immediately. Oxidation began to flake the paint off heavy metallic cabinets, while the protective epoxy resin binding the logic boards slowly started to degrade and melt. The K340A supercomputers have reached a state of soggy decay. Constant dripping leaks and heavy condensation have reduced sophisticated ferrite transistor processors into heaps of organic-looking sludge. Water acts as the zone's first great eraser. It dissolves the rigid geometry of human engineering, leaving behind chaotic, moss-draped ruins. Back outside, the surrounding poneys have ignored the old military perimeters. Instead, the forest is using the colossal structure as its new physical framework. Saplings sprout directly through the heavy tubular steel supports. Branches weave in and out of the iconic birdcage dipoles, physically anchoring the forest into the architecture. Down at the foundation, heavy, saturated moss buries the concrete footings. It traps rainwater against the metal, turning the industrial ground floor into a permanent biological sponge. The sharp, intimidating angles of Soviet engineering are steadily losing their shape, softened and rounded by creeping vines that grip the metal like a vice. The forest is physically dismantling the steel leviathan, wedging apart the joints and prying at the structure beam by beam. Just a few miles away, the ecosystem takes an even stranger path. This is the territory surrounding Reactor 4, where the environment was heavily bombarded by ionizing radiation. Out here, biology adapts to the invisible energy. Certain fungi and spores thrive in these highly contaminated zones, utilizing the radiation to stimulate their own rapid growth. This creates strange warped hues across the landscape. Patches of unnaturally vibrant green moss push through the concrete, alongside thick layers of powdery yellow dust that coat the long, abandoned corridors. This creates scenes of macabre surrealism. In one of the heavily irradiated buildings near the core, scientists found thousands of dead, bright yellow butterflies carpeting the windowsills, perfectly matching the toxic dust. This is a distorted nature that looks earthly, but behaves according to entirely alien, irradiated rules. From a distance, the cityscape of Pripyat blends into the autumnal forest. The rusting facades of the concrete apartment blocks mirror the dying orange and yellow leaves of the canopy. These brutalist structures and towering radar grids were built with the strength to survive a global war. Yet they are being effortlessly torn apart by moisture, microscopic spores, and persistent roots. The wilderness didn't require an explosive force to take Chernobyl back. All it needed was the sudden absence of humanity and the quiet, steady passage of time. Looking across the mist rolling over this overgrown skyline, you are seeing a haunting preview of a world that has moved past its human era. The legacy of Chernobyl stands as a profound demonstration of nature's terrifying and beautiful resilience, outlasting the technical failures of a fallen empire.